Hey there folks, this is Ian. I'm an artist at Pinghua, and today we're going to be talking about applying halftones. Halftones are a means of adding shadow to your images that doesn't require full grayscale printing. It uses a series of dots, pure black dots arranged in various sizes and patterns to create the visual effect of shades of gray. So if your page is going to be printed, solid blacks will help facilitate the printing process. If you're distributing your work digitally, it's less important, but it still can be a stylistic element that you add to your page. If you've ever read any manga, Japanese comics use this quite extensively, as well as a lot of independent North American and Western comic books. There are two methods of applying halftones in Krita. You can use filters to apply areas of color or tone and generate halftones automatically, or you can apply them directly with a tone brush. So we're going to be working with one of the pages that we worked on previously. I'm going to open File and open. There we go. Got a page that we had previously inked part of in a previous video. It's gone and finished up some of the middle panels. We're just going to zoom in on those now. Enter. And so right now I'm going to hide my pencils because we don't want to see those anymore. There's our clean inks, and we're going to apply some halftones to these as if we were printing this in black and white. For this, let's work on this panel here. Like we've done in the past, we're going to make a new layer for this. So I'm going to go over to my layers docker on the right hand side and click the plus button. I have a new layer. I'm going to double click it and change the name to tones. And then I'm going to drag that layer below the inks layer. It's still within our line art clipping group, so the inherited alpha of the panels is going to be applied by ticking this A. Hover over it there. Okay, so now that we have this layer visible and we have it below our inks layer, we're going to go over to our color selector. In our color selector panel, on the left-hand side, we have the advanced color selector active, but I also have the palette tabbed in here. If you don't have that, again, you can go to settings, dockers, palette is an option there. Now, this is another palette that I use for coloring and painting, so I'm going to just switch this one out by clicking this bottom button here where it says concept cookie, and I'm going to go to the default palette. Now with the default palette, you can see I have some basic tones of gray at the top here. And I'm just going to choose a 50% gray, and that's going to be my default tone. Then I'm going to go into my standard brushes and just take this basic 5-size brush here, and I can block in some color. So say I'm going to do this guy's robe in the 50% gray. I'm just going to quickly block that in, and then I will show you. All right, here we have the filled in tone area. I've got 50% gray for all of this guy's cloak. So now I want to convert that into a halftone. So to do that automatically, I'm going to go to filter, I'm going to go to artistic, and halftone is the first. I open this up, it's got some defaults. So by standard size of your dot is 8 pixels and the standard angle is 45. We can change that if we want. Okay, I want a 90-degree angle on there. Take a minute to calculate. There we go. And then I'm going to click OK, and it's going to apply it. We have a slight problem with this though. If you notice down here and on the edges of the cloak, I'm going to turn off the inks and show you. See how we have some black density that is kind of messing up our nice even tone, and we have this big line here. That I had not noticed before, but it's a problem inherent in Krita. It gets a little confused when it's applying halftone patterns on transparent layers. So what we can do to avoid that, I'm just going to undo this and go back to our normal tone. Once you have your tone down, a little easier, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to place it below that. But when you're setting up a layer for making halftones, you should fill it with the background color. So I'm going to hit D to return my colors to their default, so it's going to be black and white. Then I'm going to hit backspace, and it's going to fill that with white. Now this entire area is filled with white. Then I'm going to merge this down. Just rename that tones. And turn back on inherited alpha. Now that that's on, I can apply that filter again. And now we have the halftone without any of the jaggies. And I can actually turn off the inks to show you. Just a standard pattern for the entire area. And the black lines are gone. So that's one method of handling tones. I'm going to show you a little bit more, some subtlety in tones, some different sizes of tones, and how those look. I'm just going to back up, and I'm going to add some more tones with different levels of gray on this picture, and then we'll run the filter again. So now we have a little more depth in our shadows here, and I'm just going to apply the same filter again. And there we have it. So you can see the different density and spacing in the dots based on the amount of gray that we had in those areas. So some of the very light, like the 30% here, is mostly white with very tiny dots, where the intense shadows on here are even darker. I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can get print size. And you can see that subtlety. Again, with this instance, the 90% dots is probably not the right idea because you're getting this banding here. Change that to 45. There you go. So that's one method of applying halftones. There's one method that gives you a little more control, and that is by applying the tones directly with the tone brush. The tone brushes I like to use are again from Mojo. It's an add-on pack, and I can show you how to add that on right now. We're going to go to settings and manage resources, just under configure. And right now we have Mojo Ink installed in active bundles. We're going to import another bundle, and I've downloaded this from share.krita.org, Mojo Tone. Open. And now it's added that in. Simple as that. Scroll down, you should tone brushes here. I will show you how they work. Just going to delete this entire layer. Hit Control A to select all, and backspace to fill it all with white. Another thing we should do if we are using this as a tone layer is set it to multiply. That will actually get rid of anything that's white. It won't show through, and it'll only show the black dots. So to apply the tones, you're just going to go into your tone brushes, choose appropriate size, and then this is nice because it gives you a little more control over the edges. The automatic filter. Again, you can hit E to turn to an eraser brush, and we'll erase those. Nice points and lines in. Essentially just coloring in shadow, but using dots. There's one more brush I'd like to show you. Inks is a screen tone zipper, and this is a pressure sensitive. If I press hard, I get dark dots, and lighten my pressure, lightens my dots. You can actually gradate your tones. You can go back over it and Don't have to keep brushes. Pull the sides as well. So those are two methods of applying tones in Krita. So try both of them, see which one works better for you. And until next time, keep drawing.
Pingwa.